Hi, my name is Davin Sundvik with The Catch Today, and we are going to be going over non-toxic ammunition and homemade ammunition for big game hunting. So just to clarify, I did draw a big game tag in Nevada. I'm not going to announce what species it is until after the hunt's over, but I did draw, and I do plan on hunting with non-toxic ammunition this year if the non-toxic ammunition holds up to my standards, okay? And so your standards for lethality might be different than my standards for lethality. And in this video, I'm going to explain why I don't believe the lethality is the issue, okay? Now, the purpose of this video is to go over non-lead ammo just in case there's ever an issue with the supply chain of lead and maybe we can't find ammo makers willing to make lead ammunition. Maybe the laws change. Maybe we are in a ammo shortage in general and we can't find ammo, and so we want to make it at home. And so what are ways of making ammo at home that's not going to bring toxicity of lead melting into our home? And the fourth reason, just for health reasons, right? So whatever your reason for making non-lead ammunition doesn't really matter to me, okay? I don't really care why. I'm just going to go into the lethality in this video and why I believe that the limiting factor is not lethality. I believe the limiting factor is accuracy. And so if I can find an accurate bullet that holds up to my lethality standards, then I will attempt to hunt big game this year with a non-toxic shot. Okay, I drew a rifle tag. All right, I will give that much information out. I didn't. If I was drawing a muzzleloader tag, then I would 100% be hunting with a bismuth ball because I've already proven the lethality and the accuracy of bismuth in my muzzleloading rifle. Okay, what I have not done is proven the accuracy with zinc, and I haven't proven the accuracy in a regular. Like 30-06, or I like to hunt with a Mosin Nagant, so 760 by 5.4R. I've not proven it with a 30 caliber bullet yet. Now, replace 30 caliber with whatever your standard bullet is. It doesn't really matter. I think whatever bullet you use, you can use bismuth. It'll be just fine, and you'll be able to kill animals at reasonable distances. So, let's go into the 3 factors why I believe that you'll be able to hunt at reasonable distances because of shotguns. Okay, we've already been using steel and we've been using steel, copper, even bismuth rounds and shotguns for a long time now, and there's a lot of data out there to support. And by the way, zinc and steel are very similar in density, roughly 35% to 30% less dense than lead. And what we found is you can take a round ball, right, a piece of shot, and increase its size by 20% and get roughly the same lethality at the same distances, okay? So you don't have to increase your shot size by shot diameter by the same percentage that you're losing, because diameter, if you increase diameter by about 8 to 20%, you're increasing your weight by of the same shot size, same material, same everything, by anywhere between 30 to 60%. So we know that we can increase the shot size, right? So we can go from a number 6 lead pellet, kill a duck at a certain yardage, and we can shoot a number 4 steel shot at the same distance, and that'll kill a duck, okay? So we already know that we can increase the size of the shot. So we can go from a small shot to a bigger shot, and the bigger shot, even though it's less dense, will be the same lethality at the same range. The next thing that we can do is we can move that shot at a higher velocity. So we know that 100 pellets of number 4 steel and 100 pellets of lead, right, because the lead is heavier, with the same level of recoil on the shoulder, right, the steel will travel at a higher velocity. And therefore, right, if we use the muzzle energy equation, the bullet energy equation, the foot-pounds of energy, that steel is actually going to have more energy out the barrel. So at close ranges, like for self-defense, it should actually be more lethal, right? I believe in the momentum equation, by the way, for using round balls. We'll go into that a little bit later, why momentum is better for round balls than energy, and energy is better for, you know, bow-tailed rifle bullets. But with that being said, I don't believe that the steel number 4 pellet is actually more lethal at close range. I believe it's the same lethality leaving the barrel. I believe it just loses its lethality faster, okay? But it's starting at a higher velocity. So in theory, it should be able to deliver very similar results out to a certain distance, and then it will lose its lethality quicker. And so we could hunt at closer ranges by lowering the range. So we got our 3 factors that matter, right? We've got the velocity. So the velocity can actually be faster with non-lead ammo. We've got the bullet size, the volume of the bullet. So a bigger bullet can overcome that density issue. And we've got range. We can choose to hunt at closer ranges. And we don't have to sacrifice all 3 things. Or just one thing. Like you can make a big sacrifice in one of those factors, or you can make a small sacrifice in all 3 of those factors and maintain the same level of lethality. Okay, so just understand that we can play around with all 3 of these factors. We don't just have to change one factor. Okay, we don't just have to change the bullet size. We don't just have to change the velocity. We don't just have to change the range that we hunt at. We can change all 3. And if we make small compromises in all 3 of these areas, I think we'll be fine. Okay, that's my belief. That's my belief. And you can prove it with mathematics. And so I'm going to explain with mathematics why we can use the momentum instead of the muzzle energy using historical data. So over hundreds and hundreds of years, right, people have been writing notes about using 49 caliber lead round balls, 54 caliber lead round balls, 45 caliber lead round balls to kill deer out of muzzle loading rifles, right? And the momentum of these bullets is roughly the same as a 6.5 Creedmoor. 6.5 Creedmoor might have 20, maybe 30% more momentum at 100 yards. But that same 6.5 Creedmoor has nearly double, if not, you know, maybe almost triple the muzzle energy at 100 yards. It just depends on the bullet that you choose to shoot out of your 6.5 Creedmoor. And in a 30-06, the momentum is double, but the muzzle energy is nearly quadruple, okay? And I do not think that you can kill necessarily an animal quadruple the size with a 30-06 that you could with a 49 caliber round ball at 100 yards, okay? I don't think the math necessarily makes a 30-06 bullet quadruple the lethality of a round ball. And I'll go into the reasons for that, okay? First of all, these rifle bullets that we use, modern day rifle bullets, we depend on expansion to increase the wound channel. We know that if we create a very fast bullet that's very small and punches through the target, that there is wasted energy. And so we know that we need that momentum to be transferred into the target by increasing the size of the bullet, the size of the diameter, to increase the size of the wound channel, to increase the total hemorrhaging that happens on the animal. And so it's not energy that kills the animal, it's wound channel, wound placement. And if you are dependent on 60% expansion to equal the same size wound channel, right, you are losing a lot of energy in order to do that. So it doesn't really matter if you have quadruple the energy if you're losing 60% of it in order to get the same size diameter, okay? But energy does matter when you're comparing this 30-06 to a 6.5 Creedmoor. And you're saying, okay, well, I need to expand my 6.5 Creedmoor by 20% in order to equal the same size wound channel as this 30 caliber bullet. So that means that I need roughly 20% more energy because I'm going to have some heat transfer. As that bullet squishes, it will exert heat you know, and that's some of your loss of your energy, and that energy won't be transferred into momentum, into penetration of the animal. So I need to know that when I'm comparing a 30 caliber bullet to a 0.5 millimeter bullet, or a 25 caliber bullet, 26 caliber bullet, whatever it comes out to. So when we're comparing fast moving projectiles that are different calibers, the energy equation is very, very helpful, very useful, because we know that we're experiencing energy loss. And we know that we're experiencing energy loss, we need high levels of energy to overcome that inefficiency, okay? Now, lead is incredibly efficient at maintaining its energy. So we can afford to lose energy no problem, and it's not a big deal because lead maintains so much energy. What people start to worry about is when they start using bullets like bismuth and zinc, or copper or steel, and it does not maintain its energy as well, and they get fearful because they know that they need a lot of energy out of their lead bullet. They don't know why they need a lot of energy, they just know they need a lot of energy, right? And so what we can realize is that it's the momentum of the bullet that does a lot of the killing. And so if we know why we're losing energy, we can overcome this by using a bigger caliber, right? If you are used to using a 25 caliber bullet, and you know that by switching to a slower bismuth bullet, you're not going to get as great of expansion, well, maybe instead of using a 25 caliber lead bullet, we use a 30 caliber lead bullet. Maybe instead of using a 30 caliber lead bullet, we use a 40 caliber bismuth bullet, right? For whatever the equivalent game that we're hunting. And so we can decrease the velocity, decrease the range that we're hunting at, and our range expectations, and still maintain lethality. We're just not getting the same energy because we're not expecting the bullet to compress as much. We're just using a wider bullet. And so that's one way that we can kind of understand why momentum would be more important when we're talking about this than energy. I'm going to tell you the short and sweet answer. You are not going to make homemade bullets and maintain the same level of energy. It's just not going to happen, okay? But you can decrease your range, you can decrease your velocity, you can you can increase the size of the bullet, and you can actually still kill game just fine and create great wound channels, okay? So that's something that we're going to have to make an adjustment here if you expect to make homemade ammo with alternative metals and still make kills. Now, if you're using a copper bullet that's traveling at very similar velocities, you're going to get very similar results, but your results might just be maybe 80% or 70% of the efficiency of your lead. And so if you think that your lead bullet can kill out to 600 yards, now it can only kill out to 400 yards with that copper bullet. Because that copper bullet's smaller, lighter, a little bit less efficient, but no big deal. 400 yards is still great, right? All right. That's where we get into the long distance craze, I like to call it. So this is what started my entire journey into discovering, looking into muzzleloading and having fun with my own handmade bullets. Is I found that my 30-06 was less accurate than I thought. The barrel is just a little bit too thin. The barrel harmonics are not great. And so it's very picky on ammo. And when we had our most recent shortage, I could not find the most accurate bullet, which was the Hornady 178 grain ELDX bullet. For whatever reason, it loved that bullet, and I tried to put copper bullets through it, and it hated it. I was getting 3-inch groups at 100 yards. Then I tried a bunch of other bullets, and I was getting 2-inch groups and 1.5-inch groups, and I could not get that 1-inch group, that one MOA bullet at 100 yards unless I was able to get my hands on Hornady 178 grain ELDX. And so it made me realize that I don't want to be so dependent on a single bullet manufacturer for my hunting enjoyment. I wanted to have a little bit more independence, and it led me on this journey that I am on today, all right? Got me into muzzleloading, got me working with muzzleloaders and zinc bullets and bismuth bullets and testing them out on, jugs filled with water and realizing that these bullets are going to do some serious damage, okay? And so here are my conclusions. My conclusions are you as the hunter are less accurate than you think. And your bullet is more lethal than you think. So if you think that your bullet is lethal out to 600 yards, you are probably not accurate out to 600 yards, okay? You're probably only accurate in the field to about like 200 yards. That's probably like the average shooter maximum accuracy is about 200, 250 yards. And so we don't need bullets to be lethal all the way out to 600 yards. So we can lower the efficiency of our bullets and be just fine, okay? The next thing that I realized, all right, is that zinc does not cast very well in very small bullets. So if you're using a small bullet and you want expansion, using a bismuth bullet, going at slower velocities and decreasing your expected range is probably going to be producing the best result as long as you can get the accuracy. If you can get the accuracy at 200 yards, I don't think that your bismuth bullet with 85% or 80% of the efficiency of lead, if your lead bullet is killing at 600 yards, your bismuth bullet going slower at 200 yards is still going to be lethal, okay? It's about 85% of the efficiency. You're not going to, like, if you decrease your expected range by, 60%, but you're only getting 15% less efficiency, you're still going to kill the target, okay? So that's what I kind of realized about modern bullets. So if you're going to start hand loading modern bullets, you're going to be using, cast bullets. You're going to have to lower those velocities down. I think you'll be fine as long as you decrease your expected range that you're hunting at and the bullet is accurate for you in those ranges. I think that's the limiting factor. And that's what's going to be my determinant for whether or not I use a bismuth bullet this year. If I can get that bullet to go through a milk jug at 100 yards, and I can consistently get it through that milk jug at 100 yards and maintain my accuracy in a 2-inch group, I will hunt with it this year. And I will show you the results. I promise. I'll show a dead animal. I'll show everything that I possibly can in the hunt. I might not get the shot on camera, but I'll do everything that I possibly can. For muzzle loading, zinc, I think, is going to be a great alternative for muzzle loaders than bismuth. Now, if you want to maintain the same caliber, you're going to have to go with bismuth. But if you're okay going up in shot size, then zinc is perfectly fine. For example, this 49 caliber round ball, if it was made out of lead, right, would be 180 grains. If you went to a 54 caliber zinc round ball, you would probably get a bullet that's roughly 150 grains, maybe 160 grains, somewhere in that range. So it'd be very comparable in weight. But shooting out of a 54 caliber bore, it would have less pressure, right, for the same amount of velocity. And so you could probably get that zinc going a little bit faster out of the barrel. And so for close range hunting within 100 yards, I think that zinc ball is going to have roughly the same amount of momentum at 100 yards. So if you don't want to compromise on your hunting distance, as long as you can get that zinc ball cast and accurate at 54 yards, sorry, at that slightly bigger caliber at 100 yards, I think it should be lethal. I'm going to test this. This is a hypothesis using mathematics and data and science and history, but I believe it will be completely lethal for you. Now, if you're like me and one day you want to hunt with a smooth bore and you're only planning on hunting at 70 yards anyway, you're not planning on hunting all the way out to 100 yards, this 300 grain smooth bore projectile that's supposed to be, so it's a 66 caliber 300 grain, would be extremely expensive to use on for bismuth, right? It would be very expensive. And so I think that any accuracy loss from a smooth bore is going to be unnoticeable from an offhand shooter in a smooth bore musket. I just don't think I'm going to notice the accuracy difference between a lead projectile, a bismuth projectile, and a zinc projectile. I think it's going to be negligible. And because the bullet is so big, I'm going to save a lot of money going with a cheaper substitute of zinc than I will with bismuth. Personally, I don't think I'm going to be using my 49 caliber rifle with zinc in it, even though zinc's a lot cheaper. But this bullet, I can make a 49 caliber round ball at home out of bismuth for like 25 cents or like 32 cents, whatever it is. It's not that expensive. I can make a zinc ball obviously much cheaper, but a lead ball I can buy pre-made. And again, I don't have to deal with the health consequences of casting it myself if I buy it pre-made. I can buy a pre-made 49 caliber round ball for like 20 cents a bullet. So I'm only increasing my cost by 50% to hand cast myself. And I get all the control of knowing that the supply chain can't be disrupted if lead were ever to be unpopular. Also, I have another alternative, which is I can use my smooth bore and cast zinc. And this zinc round ball probably only costs me maybe 20 cents, 25 cents per round ball, versus if I was casting this out of bismuth, it would cost me about $1 per round ball. And so zinc kind of allows me to get the same cost of lead without having the same toxicity of lead. And as long as the ball is big enough, it's going to be perfectly lethal. It's going to be perfectly fine. So in conclusion, if you maintain similar amounts of momentum and you get comparable accuracy for the range that you expect to hunt at. So for example, if you only expect to hunt at 200 yards, right? And your target is 8 inches, right? Well, you only need 4 MOA in order to be able to achieve that level of accuracy. Now, I don't want 4 MOA at the range. I want 4 MOA in the field. And preferably, I actually prefer to have 2 MOA in the field. If I can get a group of 2 inches at 100 yards in the field, then I will hunt with that rifle. And for a muzzleloader, if I can get 4 MOA, because I'm only planning on hunting at 100 yards, if I can get a 4-inch group at 100 yards with a muzzleloader, then I will hunt with that muzzleloader, because I do not plan on hunting beyond 100 yards. And if I'm hunting with a smooth bore, like with a shotgun, I only plan on hunting at 50 to 75 yards. So if I can get 6 MOA with a muzzleloader, or at least, at 50 yards, if I can get a 2-inch group or a 2.5-inch group or a 3-inch group at 50 yards, then I will hunt with that muzzleloader all the way out to 75 yards. So if you're hunting with muzzleloaders and you use smooth bores with big calibers and you're worried about the expensive bismuth, I think you're going to be totally fine with zinc. If you're hunting with smaller caliber rifles and you're worried about the weight loss of zinc, go with bismuth, or just increase your rifle caliber to the next caliber up. If you hunt with a 45 caliber, go with a 50. If you hunt with a 50 caliber, go up to a 54 caliber. And I think you'll get very comparable results. I do appreciate you for watching this video. I know it was long, but I wanted to get all the details in there on why I believe that non-toxic ammo is going to be totally lethal on game, and I intend to prove my hypothesis correct this year. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.